So, welcome back everyone to the show. Today I have a special guest, Bryce Vrooman. And so I actually post my podcast clips on something called a Snapchat like university story. So I go to Western Michigan University, and Bryce happened to reach out because he saw the story on this Western Snapchat story and reached out and asked if he could come on, and I was like, totally. And his topic today is, I guess, breaking the mold, not caring what other people think, pursuing your passions, etc. Bryce seems like a man who is pursuing his dreams as we speak instead of someone who just talks about his dreams. So thanks for coming on, Bryce.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I saw these Snapchat clips that you would post, and I was like, you know what? I'm seeing the content you're making, and I'm honestly think that I can go on. I think I have enough to say. Like what you just said, I'm working towards a passion in music. So that's why I really wanted to come on, and I reached out to you because it's like, you know what? There's a lot of students at Western that are just going to college, but have other aspirations and have other passions. And I really wanted to come on and just kind of talk about what it's like, what the music industry is like, and what I've so far faced in the last 6 to 8 months.
Sure. So I guess first tell me where this passion for music, or maybe even where this passion for being an entrepreneur or doing it on your own came from. You said maybe in high school you had these thoughts.
Yeah, so when I was growing up as a kid, my dad was a big drummer. He used to play in cover rock bands, and my mom was a singer-songwriter. So I kind of always grew up around music, but never really thought it could take me anywhere. Growing up, I played hockey and football for Brighton, and I'm from Brighton, Michigan. And I would always kind of write music in my free time, and always kind of think about being on stage, but was too worried about what people would think about me. So when COVID happened, it was this huge thing of sports stopped, like going out kind of stopped, and I was inside and I didn't really have anything better to do. It was my senior year, so I just started making music. I really started looking at, how do you even record a song? What does it sound like? Because I knew how to make music, but I never knew how to record it and post it. And it got to the point during COVID of oh, I think I want to make a podcast, or I think I want to make music, or I think I want to do stand up. And then it just got to the point of you know what? I think I want to be a musician. And it really, everything kind of unfolded for me when I joined a garage band group in high school. I was a drummer, and I really got to experience playing to audiences. And like that summer before COVID was really strange because you're only playing to 5 to 10 people. But when I was in this band, it was we're gonna bring a bunch of energy, have a blast playing in front of 5 to 10 people. And I never lost that feeling. It was just always this feeling of I want to do it again. I look forward to doing it again. If it's to one person or 20 people, an audience is an audience, and you gotta do your best. You gotta sing them your song. And when I got to Western, again, it was during that COVID time, fall of, I think it was 2021. It was my freshman year. We couldn't do anything at Western. We couldn't go to the football games, the hockey games, the basketball games. I'm sure you remember. So I was just in my dorm room, just making beats, making songs. I met a couple other rappers on my floor, a couple other kids that were into music, and they just kind of showed me the ins and outs of, how to make a beat, how to post it, how to record it. And then kind of my back history of music theory and singing in choir in high school. I was like, you know what? I think I want to be a singer. I think I want to be a singer-songwriter. I think I want to kind of do this. But as I was doing it my freshman year, I was just kind of thinking it was a joke. I didn't think it was going to take me anywhere. Um, and it got to the point of you know what? I think this song is good. I'm going to post it. The first song I ever wrote was Never. I'm only on SoundCloud at Bryce Vrooman. I have 5 songs posted. But so I released that song my freshman year in the spring of 2021, and my buddies listened to it. And then my buddies would repost it on their Instagram and Snapchats, and then people would listen to it. And all of a sudden it got a couple radio station plays on SoundCloud. It started building some traction. And I was like, all right, I think there's something maybe here I should follow. And just it was kind of part time through 2 years ago, which would have been like my sophomore year, like right around 2021, 2022. It was just part-time. And then I started posting a little bit more songs. And about May of last year, I had like my first management company reach out to me. They're based out of Ann Arbor, and they're like, "Hey, like we think you have potential. Like we want to sign you as an artist for 2 years. Like want to see where it takes you." And I was like, "All right." Like I'm playing music and making beats in my garage, in like my bedroom, making music in my grandma's basement. And what really was the whole changing was getting signed by Western Sound Studios here at Western, being signed to like my first like recording studio, and really learning how to like make your music, how you post it, how you build a brand, how you represent yourself, and then playing shows and playing to people, across Michigan. So this whole thing just kind of started out of an idea, and just it's snowballed and it's built up into this thing while going to school. And I'm really proud of it so far. And I really do think people are going to enjoy it. And I think so far it's going really good.
That's amazing to hear. But
Yeah.
I guess, does anyone in your like friends or family network, like, were they hesitant of you like doing this? Like, did you have anyone in your back corner saying, "What are you thinking? You're a little crazy for doing this," or did you have mainly supporters? Like,
I had mainly supporters. My mom, my grandparents, my dad, just kind of coming from musicians. There was that whole supporting of like, hey, it's not going to be easy. You're going to maybe ruffle some feathers. People aren't going to like how you're going to sound. And that doesn't matter. Like, sing your song. Don't care what people think, because judgment's big. There's going to be a lot of people that come at you and they're not going to like your song. They're not going to like the way you move on stage. They're not going to like the way you perform or the way you carry yourself. There's always going to be haters. Learning off the bat, I can't make everybody happy. So don't try to make everybody happy. Make yourself happy.
yeah, that's good. And so this Western, you said recording studios, something along those lines. What's
Yeah.
it called?
So if there's any Western students like that will listen or see us, it's called Western Sound Studios. It's a student ran recording label. It's super nice. Like they basically give you the experience of an actual artist. And I think it's really important, as if you're in college or even in school, like to experience something you're passionate about. Because I've gotten older. Like when I was 17, I wanted to do music, but like didn't know where to go. And now I'm 20, and I look back 3 years. I'm like, I'm actually in a professional recording studio around professional producers. Like people are believing in me. It's time to believe in myself. And yeah, it's called Western Sound Studios. It's on Western's main campus. They've been very supportive. Like, you come in, you do what you need to do, you come prepared, and then you go. It's actually like real, like, so I've heard, like a real experience.
That's amazing. I love that advice of pursue something in college, or if you're not in college, but specifically if you're in college, pursue something that you're truly passionate about, because like you said, Western's got this infrastructure of, whether it's painting, whether it's, singing, whether it's
Mhm.
engineering, whatever, any of the things, spike ball, you can get
Yeah.
involved and do things. And I honestly fall victim to that because I'm a person who, I do a lot of working. Like, I help run a business in Kalamazoo, and then I do this pod, and then I go to school. So like I sometimes,
Mhm.
like, I forget that there's networks, and I'm like, man, I really should
Yeah.
get involved more. So this is kind of inspiring even for
Yeah.
me, just to hear like, yo, maybe take a look at some of the RSOs or some of just the things they offer. And so yeah,
Right.
it's really great advice.
Yeah. I mean, and another thing is like you never know where it's gonna go. Like starting my own solo career, like it was just like a little pipe dream. I looked up to a lot of artists, especially like the gold record above me. That's Elvis Presley's "Suspicious Minds" gold record. Like I looked up to him as a solo artist. Big classic rock guy, Harry Styles. I love Harry Styles. Like, and you never think that you can be or working towards one of them. And it's really weird to look back in 3 years and like you're kind of taking the steps towards that of being like an actual solo artist and going on tour and kind of completing some of these dreams I had as a little kid.
Yeah, it's beautiful. People have this perception of, oh, these celebrities, these famous people, they're like above me in some way. But
Hmm.
if you think about it, they're just a human who's set their priorities in a way so that they are focused on something very specific and they work
Right.
on it all the time. And it's like, it
Yep.
seems like that's what you are doing. And it's like,
Yep.
if you continue this path, you never know. And I love that dream. And so
Mm.
it's like, I have the same thing with people like podcasters where like, I've stopped viewing them as like idols or gods, more just as
Mhm.
humans. And it's like, there will be a day in my mind that
Yeah.
I'll be able to
Oh
interview
yeah.
anyone that I want. And like, that's a dream of mine. And like, I know people listening have these like aspirations of whether they want to
Mhm.
be a famous basketball player or really anything. But then they limit themselves. And it's like this imposter
Right.
syndrome of like, oh, well,
Mhm.
I'm not enough, or, oh, I just don't have the skills. And
Right.
it's not true. Like, anyone at the top thought the same thing, but then
Yep.
they pushed past that imposter syndrome. And
You know.
that's honestly crucial, in my opinion, to take that leap and, not listen to the back of your mind and just go with your gut. So,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think there's three important factors that goes towards building, not a celebrity, but like an icon, building a legacy. And I think that's discipline. You got to stay disciplined on yourself. You got to get up, even on the days you don't want to do it. You got to go do it. Um, I try to write 20 minutes a day, work on something that I'm passionate about in music, 20 minutes a day. Stay disciplined, stay consistent, don't take days off. Know you can do this. And then taking constructive criticism. When I first started this, I would just let the people I trust, like my parents or my close friends, hear a song I haven't released yet. What sounds good? What doesn't sound good? What can I do to improve it? As soon as I go back and improve it, I'd post it. And as soon as people would hear something different, I'd be like, all right, take it into consideration. So I think just be consistent, stay disciplined, and take constructive criticism. That's kind of the three things that make yourself better and to kind of keep working towards something. And I think always have an idea in mind of where you want to go instead of just going down an empty path. Like I would love by the year 2025 to go on like a Midwest tour, perform my music or to open for an artist. Like I know that's 3 years away, but look at what I did the past 3 years and look what I can do the next 3 years and see where I can go from there.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it's like, I've heard people say it's like dreams are one thing and goals are one thing. Like, you can say them all you want, but it's about actually starting to take action and
Mm-hmm.
creating a habit. And I don't know if you've read the book Atomic Habits, but
Mm-hmm.
it talks about how the habits that you implement into your life actually all add up to create your identity. So it's like,
Hmm.
if you want your identity to be a musician, the habits you would need to implement on a daily basis, talking about that discipline and consistency, you need to implement said habits. I'm not certain which ones, you know more than me,
Right.
but it's like, these are the habits you need to implement in order to become the musician that tours the
Yep.
Midwest. And it's like, you can actually inhabit that identity. You can
Mm-hmm.
adopt that identity into
Yep.
yourself. And so it's like, what steps did you take to form the connections to create this Michigan tour? Like, how did you go through all that? Like, walk me through that.
So I think a big thing with the going on my first tour across Michigan, playing to bars and plazas and pavilions across Michigan, the steps that went into that is knowing your audience, knowing what you're going to play. If you're going to play punk rock, don't go to like a park on a Sunday where like there's going to be like families and little kids. Just know your audience. So big thing of know your audience and then know where you kind of want to play and what would sound good there. And then reaching out online, calling the restaurant or pavilion or the town hall, like kind of reaching out and getting it done. It kind of sucks that like I have like a management that will kind of pull most of that. So they're more like you get prepared with your band and then this is where you're gonna play. It's like, all right, cool. Like, thank you. But what went into this tour of like wanting to play Michigan is wanting to start local and go outwards. Um, I really do think you build your lifelong fans from your hometown and then you go outwards from there. And especially being like from Brighton, Michigan, a little farm town, wanting to start in Brighton and then end the tour in like Traverse City or Detroit just to see how far our growth went. Starting local, starting fresh, because people love local markets, local comedians, local bands. Starting out from there.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, you know, the connections that you might form doing all these, you know, going to different venues, talking to different people, who knows
Yeah.
the type of people you might be connected with. And
Right.
that probably will be a great stepping stone for that next goal of the
Right.
Midwest tour. And
Yeah.
it's like a compounding effect. It's like if you keep it going, the sky is the limit. And that's what I
Yeah.
love to see. And it seems like your attitude is focused on it and you're confident in yourself, but also, like you said, willing to take criticisms. Like,
Right.
and that's honestly even more crucial.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And what other inspirations do you have? Like, I guess, who do you look up to for inspiration besides Elvis? Like, are there others, and Harry Styles? Like, list a few more. Like,
Yeah. I
and
think
why maybe?
I think someone I really look up to is Dave Grohl and Paul McCartney. Why I really look up to these two is after Nirvana ended for Dave Grohl, he went into a recording studio and did everything himself. He played every song, every instrument, sang all the songs on the first Foo Fighters album he did. And then Paul McCartney, after he left the Beatles, did his first album that was with Wings. And in that album, he wrote everything himself, he sang everything himself, he played all the instruments. And for my first album coming out in March, it's all me. I'm playing the drums, I'm playing guitar, I'm playing the synth. I've wrote everything. Like I have a lot of respect for these two artists because they started off doing it by themselves, just for them. And I think someone like me doing it all myself, you just feel kind of grateful for people that will come in and help you because you don't want it to be all yourself for the rest of your career. And I just look up to these two and I'm like, wow, I'm doing what they did when they first started. They did everything themselves. And I'm like, all right, I got this. The days where you have that writer's block or you're in the studio and you're in a little enclosed box, you don't want to sing, like you just remember like of Dave Grohl and Paul McCartney of like, hey, they did this. You can get through this.
That's awesome. I like both of those
Yeah.
musicians quite a
Oh
lot.
yeah. The Beatles, Foo Fighters, Nirvana. Especially with
Yeah,
Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl was a drummer, and I was a drummer in my first band. And I look at Dave Grohl, I'm like, oh, he's a singer, guitar player, and that's what I'm doing now. It's like, yeah, I'm almost like the Foo Fighters in a way.
exactly. And it's like, it sounds bad, but it's like, you know, time will move on and these people will die out. And it's like, we need people to replace them. And so it's
Right.
like, you know, that's where you might come in.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. But like when you're in the studio, how do you write? Is it an honest like assessment of what your heart is feeling? Are the lyrics like true to you, or do they just kind of come? Like, explain to me the writing process, I guess.
So, a writing process for me, I always write my lyrics out first, and then when I find like a harmony or a rhythm from my songs, my lyrics I write first. That's where I kind of go after that. So, a song like Never I wrote, or Someone that came out like a month and a half ago, it started just by me writing on a sheet of paper and then sitting down and going, okay, someone, like, and then you kind of hear the rhythm there, and just kind of my understanding of music being able to go to the guitar, kind of play like the chords that I'm hearing myself sing. I can put a chord together, and then I can actually progress into having a whole guitar section done, completed, and then knowing how to play bass and knowing how to play synth. And then my favorite part's like playing the drums in it. I'm able to go play the drums, and it just started off by writing the lyrics of a song, and then it progressed into knowing how to play the guitar from there, and then it went into knowing how to play the bass, and then finally my favorite part, playing the drums to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've actually listened to both those songs, the
Yeah.
Sometimes and Never, and I like them
Yeah.
both. And
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
recognize yeah, man, it's good. It's like, and the beauty is, it's like, you know, you might look back and say, look how far I've come. Like, it's good, but it's like, there's still roads to improve. Just
Yeah.
like me with my pod, I'm sure there's things I can
Right.
improve. You know, that's the beauty of that constructive criticism. But
Mhm.
yeah, I was gonna ask, like, for all the songs, are you planning on like playing all the instruments, or are you planning on maybe having others do those parts, like play the
Yeah.
drums or the
So,
guitar? I don't know that much about bands or music, but
oh
it's
yeah.
just
Uh,
interesting to hear about all this.
so over summer, I kind of got invited to join this band called the Red Broncos, and they're a band out of Grand Rapids. And forming with this band, it's transitioned into they needed a front man and I needed a band, and we're like, hey, like we'll meet in the middle and like kind of join forces. And that's kind of the next part of what I'm going through finishing this album is I get to bring the musicians I've met that I'm going on tour that's going to back me up this summer. They're coming into the studio and kind of helping these songs and building it into kind of something that I enjoy more. Because when you are in a band, you don't have to play everything yourself. You know, I sing. I have a close friend of mine who's the lead guitarist, and I know a drummer, and I know the bass player. And that's why I get to go on tour with this band. And, you know, I don't know if we'll play songs from my album. I hope maybe we will, but we play a lot of like classic rock covers, and I'm looking forward to doing that too. But back to the question of like bringing the band into the studio, that's been the last kind of 6 weeks, which has been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed it. Just kind of instead of doing everything yourself, you get to rely on other people that, wait a minute, like, you know, they already memorized their material and they're going to play it in the studio. And I just get to walk in, sing my part, hear it sounds to me, change some stuff, rewrite some stuff, and I can go.
Yeah,
I don't have 6 hours in a studio like playing guitar, playing bass, playing drums, and then singing. Like, you know, it takes a big load off my back.
yeah, I bet. And so when you're touring, like, are you just going to be? It's probably going to be an interesting lifestyle of like living on a bus or like maybe sleeping in hotels or like how's
Yeah.
that going to work? Like, explain what the plan is, or you're not sure yet.
Yeah. So the plan is we're starting in Brighton, and then so we're only playing on the weekends. So Monday through Wednesday, I get to kind of be at home with my family. But Thursday through Friday, we're on the road for 10 weeks. We start in Brighton, which is like at home. We don't really need to drive. And we go to Howell the next week, and then Pinckney, and then Ann Arbor, and you know, working its way out from East Lansing, and then we'll get to Grand Rapids, we'll get to Kalamazoo, we'll get to Petoskey, Traverse City, New Baltimore, and then finish in Detroit. But what I like about it is it gives you that kind of taste of being on the road while you get to still go home, because we'll stay in a couple like Airbnbs while we're on tour, but mostly everything's about 2 hours away, and we can always drive back home. And I think that's what kind of makes the fun from like we get to travel in convoys. Like we're gonna have like marketing stuff on our cars, which is like this is where we're like performing tonight. Like come watch us play, stuff like that. So even though I'm going on tour, it's kind of a nice like around across Michigan tour in a way, and I won't kind of get like the leg stretch of getting burned out on the road, because I will be close to home. But yeah, we're traveling in a couple big vans, and then we'll also be bringing a U-Haul truck as well to carry the equipment.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Sounds exciting, and
I
yeah,
know.
I'll have to know when the dates are because I should check it out.
Yeah,
But yeah, I noticed you have a website, which props to you. It's like you're going hard on this. It's like you're going full send.
yeah,
You know, it's
and
like
and
this isn't just some you know dream that is just talked about. But keep
right,
going.
and I think as like with an artist, when you meet, because I have a manager, and she's very um, precise about being professional. And a big thing is what bars and local pubs and townships like to see is like you have a website, you have everything organized, um, you're representing yourself. You don't want to be messy and not be organized. When you go to my website at brycevrooman.com, you can see everything I'm doing. I mean, you can see I'm going to go on tour this summer. The album's there. Our YouTube channel and stuff is up. You can check out our live videos from a Kalamazoo show we did about a couple months ago. You got to be professional in this business. You don't want to be kind of loose information and kind of scatterbrained. People want to see you're clear cut, you're focused, everything's organized, that you're ready to go, and you're professional, because it is a cutthroat business, and people want you to be there on time. They want you to be organized. They want you to bring your best, and that's kind of the stuff that I kind of always knew I could do. You know, growing up and wanting to be an artist.
Yeah, and I guess as an artist or musician, when you're creating music, there's probably two sides, but I'm curious which side is bigger. Like the side of I'm creating this music for me because I love it and it makes me happy, or is there another side of like I'm creating this music because I want the lyrics to impact people, I want to show the world or impact the world, or which side is bigger? Or is it kind of even, or is it mainly
Yeah,
selfish? Either way,
I
it's a good
I
kind of
really
selfish.
feel I really feel like it's even because
Okay.
there's songs that I wrote and that are going to be on the album that's catchy. I want people to enjoy it, listen to like when you're like out in the summer and you're on like your pontoon boat, you can listen to it and you'll feel nice because it's a nice day out. And then there's songs where it's like it's what I see wrong with our generation, kids our age, what I don't want past people to screw up on, like what love is in my own aspect of it, what I think of like my cell phone and how I think it's like my third arm, how it's always like attached, and it seems like kids our age can't get off their phones, and like you just there's that part of you that has wants to kind of air out your dirty laundry and your pain, and it helps you heal from it. And then you see what's wrong with like kind of society in a way, and then there's just you that just wants to make good music, wants to make songs that you would hear on the radio, nice, fast, catchy songs. And it's like, you know what? Some days I want to do that. Some days I want to get into my stuff. And some days I just want to write about what's going on in the world.
Sure. Yeah, I like how it's even. It just kind of
Hmm.
depends on how you're feeling, what you're thinking
Right.
about, etc.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so you're on SoundCloud now and YouTube a
Yes.
little bit, but what's your
Yes.
plan? Are you trying to get on on like Spotify or Apple, or like
Yes.
walk me through
So
why you haven't yet, or like whatnot?
walking through kind of the next month and a half of kind of building up to my first album. It's called Never Gonna Make It. It's album name is on my website. But I'm building in anticipation for it to be on all platforms. So on March 3rd, when my first studio album's released, it'll be on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. The whole album will be on SoundCloud as well. We're going to release that on all platforms. Why I decided to take such a small audience on SoundCloud is just because of how easy it is to kind of handle it. Um, because when you want to go to a distributor, it is kind of like some money, and especially I want to make sure my whole product is finished and that everything is ready to go instead of just kind of putting songs out on SoundCloud and Spotify and Apple Music like once at a time. I'd rather just give you my whole project at once. What I've been doing the last like 2 years of my life, and I hope you enjoy it. Now it's just like people are anticipating it to be really good, so it's like I hope it's not bad. I hope you like it. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I hope people appreciate it when it comes out because it's going to be like, yeah, finally this 2 year project I've been doing. It's almost like a baby in a way of like I'm seeing it grow up. I'm seeing it almost out the door, and as time's getting closer, I'm like, well, I hope it does good out in the real world. Like, I hope people like it.
Sure. Yeah, it sounds like a good strategy. Have you ever
Yeah.
thought about like just from my experience, like I've grown this podcast mainly, honestly, through like TikTok reels,
Mhm.
Facebook
Yeah.
reels, YouTube shorts. For some reason, those kind of short clips are the way. And I was like, maybe going to
Mhm.
suggest, like, maybe just a video of you playing the guitar on tour,
Yeah.
or maybe you just whatever with whatever one of your songs, and who knows, it could really
Yeah.
explode. I see that
And
as an amazing network as well.
yeah, and we're gonna probably start doing that. The last I think 5 days ago, I posted my lead guitarist doing "Eruption" by Van Halen, and it got some traction. It got 1,000 views, and we saw kind of the increase on SoundCloud go up a little bit, and that's kind of like the next take. Something that I'm majoring in here at Western is multi video production. So now I get to kind of do what I've been majoring here at Western,
Hmm.
kind of how to making movies and how to making clips
What
and
is that?
reels. So it is the
Hmm.
production side of working with cameras, working with kind of how to shoot a movie, how to vlog, how to make music videos. I finally get to do what I've been learning at Western and kind of make it towards my own, working on my music in a way and showing it off like that. Starting to do it kind of what you just said of like, you know what, like I've already been kind of working on that. But TikTok's the way. I mean, it's such a fast exposure and such a quick market. You know, it's always fun to like when you look on your TikTok analyst, you can see like in the first 10 seconds you had 100 people, you had 100% of your audience was paying attention, and then after 10 seconds it drops to 65%. You're like, all right, I got to catch people in the first 10 seconds, and that's what it's like in a way with music. People are going to want to listen to your song right off the bat in the first 10 seconds. If they don't like it, you're going to skip.
Yeah, that's interesting. And are you planning on shooting any music videos for this album?
Yes, I'm planning on having my first music video come out this month. I'm really excited.
Wow.
I don't know if you listen to someone, but we found a
Yeah,
producer for that, so we're really excited.
that's amazing. And like, where are you gonna film it at?
Yeah, I think we're planning on filming it all around Kalamazoo. Especially there is kind of some local cool venues we can do some stuff at, but mainly on Western. I just like to use Western's campus because of how beautiful it is. Especially someone was kind of wrote on Western's campus, so I kind of would like to show Western off a little bit in it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. And yeah, like I've known a few artists. I've actually interviewed one other one before.
Mhm.
One of my favorite artists, I guess, but he was explaining to me how like him and some of his friends, but specifically a few people he knew, their songs blew up on TikTok because you know you can use the audio and it just somehow
Yeah.
exploded it, and it's like, man, you never know, like
Right.
especially
Right.
like if you're consistent and you keep dropping things and
Hmm.
your name will start to be recognizable, and
Yeah.
you know it's just
Eh, eh,
it's an exciting
Right.
process.
And I think with TikTok too is like you have to really manage your quality over quantity. And I think before like me as an artist rushing into like posting all these videos about my music, I want to make sure it's up to my quality standards that people are going to want to watch instead of just like it being so quick and not, put together and more of like a professional way. Like you saw my webpage, how it's like professional. I think I like to make TikTok videos professional for my music and not to kind of rush stuff off the bat in a way. And that's what I've been kind of looking into like the last couple of weeks of working on TikTok and understanding how the app works and even how YouTube Reels and Instagram Reels work as well. I'm building an audience online.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, another just idea. I For my pod, I
Mhm.
have just a lot of posters that I'm printing out, and I'm gonna just start throwing them around main campus. I
Yep.
am an engineer, so I throw them there at the engineering
Yeah.
campus. But I'm like, maybe you could post up some posters when this album is
Yeah.
releasing, and just
Yep.
you never know. It's just
Yeah. A big thing is
so
using scan
just
code.
ideas.
Oh yeah. No, I was already kind of
The
planning on doing that.
QR. Yep,
Yep. That's what I was
exactly.
planning to do for the album. Put a QR code on a poster, and then especially like with the school, you gotta get it approved. But honestly, like if it's up the student code, like it wouldn't be that bad. Especially throwing a QR code on it. That way, people just scan right to it.
Yeah, I'm kind of rebellious and might just throw it up anyways, but we'll
Yeah.
see. I don't know. I respect the ask first, but I also I'm like,
Oh
well,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
might just strategically place it in a few places, but we'll see. But
Well, it's
yeah,
it's
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 fun to
honestly it's
see.
not.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not that bad though. Like you just go to the main office in that hall, and then they'll just like stamp it, and then you'll be good to have it up for as long as you want.
Like what main hall?
So like for Brown has a main office, and then you just email the Browns like the Brown Hall secretary, and then you just bring it to her, and she stamps it, and then you can put it anywhere in Brown Hall on the bulletin boards.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it goes the same with like
Hmm.
Sagrin because they have people that will like take down posters if it didn't get approved.
Oh, fair enough. That's a good
Yeah,
point. I will note that before I just throw them everywhere. But
dude, I'll put
yeah,
my
that's
album
awesome.
right next to your. I'll put my album right next
Yeah,
to your poster.
the collaboration.
Literally,
I love that.
literally.
It's like not many. I feel like not many Western students or just students in general. They set aside. Oh, I'm so busy. I'm a student. I don't have time for anything else. So I'm
Right.
just gonna focus on school.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you're lying to yourself. Don't you have other
Yeah.
passions? You're
I mean,
you're young only once, and it's like if you start now, you might actually achieve it. But
right.
if you just keep making the excuse of, oh, I don't have time, it's like you're not going to make it. So
Yeah. I mean, you're so true with that too, because I think just people are afraid of judgment. I think people are afraid to be judged by others. And really, what do you have to lose? I mean, you love something so much, you're gonna do it in your free time when you're not with them. Why not share like your art with other people? I've got it, but I've never got it. In a way of just being from Brighton, like there was a lot of bullying. I can get the point of like you're afraid to get bullied, but like it's they're just jealous. They want to take their pain out on you, and like you got to take it. Like it's not on you. It's not your fault. Like if you're passionate about something, do it. Don't wait, because the longer you wait, the longer you're letting what you could have done pass. If you truly love something, do it and let it grow and watch it, because it would be a lot of fun. I tell you. I mean, I never thought I'd be going on tour. I just thought I'd be a video production assistant and that'd be my job from 9 to 5. Not trying to be an artist, like not trying to be someone like my idols in a way. So now it's just like, all right, like I want to do it again. I wake up and I'm doing what makes me happy, and I want to do that. I don't want to wake up and not want to go to work or not put my shoes on. Like music gets me out of bed in the morning, and I think that's what people have to learn to do with their life. Is you got to wake up and you got to be happy with what you do
yeah,
and enjoy
and
doing it.
seriously. And you were saying like people are scared of judgment, and it's like,
Mhm.
well, if you're doing something that you love so much, it's like people who are hating are probably realizing like, man, he's doing something he loves and I do something
Right,
I hate. I'm trying to take
right.
it out on him because I honestly feel self-conscious. I feel
Mhm.
depressed because I'm not pursuing what I'm pursuing, and it looks like he is, man. And
Yeah.
it's like I might as well try to put him down to feel better about myself.
Hmm.
But it's like,
Yeah.
someone who's putting themselves out there, they almost are
Mhm.
forced to have is like a lot of self-confidence and a lot of security in who they are, like because you're gonna face all kinds of just nasty comments. Oh,
Yep.
sounds horrible. Oh, I wish there was a dislike button, or there's just
Right.
gonna be people on
Thumbs
there
down.
in person, online, who are just
Hmm.
like gonna hate. But it's like, well, it's very convenient of you, you anonymous user who has never
Right.
posted anything. It seems,
Right.
if I go to
And you
your
just have like a
profile, there's nothing
private.
there.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yep.
yeah, it's convenient, but I'm out here and you're out here. It's like
Mhm.
you have to learn to just, well, I'm doing what I love, and people are gonna
Mhm.
get frustrated. They're gonna get resentful, jealous,
And not
but
read the
that's
comments.
part of life. But
Don't read the
then there's
comments because they
also,
they do nothing for you.
yeah. And like you said, sometimes there's constructive criticism found within,
Hmm.
and then it's like, boom, I'll
Yes.
take that. There we go.
Hmm. You
But
run with it.
if it's just hate, then it's like, well, I'm just gonna use it as fuel, because it's like, well,
Right.
thank you, because
Right.
so I agree with that heavily, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
I
mean,
really go ahead.
just like don't read the negative comments, because it's doing nothing for you unless it is the constructive criticism. Then you're always going to want to be like, oh, thank you. But if it's negative, just don't read it, because you're not doing yourself any favors. At the end of the day, like if someone doesn't like your song, that's okay. It's not on you. They just didn't like it. They have different taste. Everybody's got different tastes in music. Everybody's got different tastes in food. Like it's not your fault. It's not on you. Like you did the best you could. Just move on. Make better music material that you want to do. And you'll find your audience that people are gonna like. You'll find your audience.
Exactly. Yeah, I play this game in my head of like, there's billions of people on the earth, and it's like, oh no,
Hmm.
there's these few people in the comments are not excited about this video, or not happy at all
Right.
about it, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna let a few people out of the billion, un, bring me down. I'm just gonna
Right.
keep trying to be consistent and hopefully capture more.
Hmm.
More people of these many people on Earth, and just,
Yeah.
because there's bound to be more people who will enjoy it, and so
Right.
just playing games in your head of like, it's okay, even if
Hmm.
people are hating. So
Right. And I think something too is like if if there's a couple people that don't like your episode or they don't like your song, but what about the people that liked your song and didn't do anything about it and didn't like your podcast or didn't like your song? Like, yeah, you had two people speak up, they didn't like it, but what about the people that didn't speak up and liked it? So that's what I always try to keep in my head of like, if I have a song or I have a YouTube video that gets a lot of negative thumbs, like down, what happened to the people that did like it and just didn't want to act on it? Just decided to swipe somewhere else, but they liked it. So I was like, all right, like I always keep that in mind, you know?
Yeah, that's really well said. Normally,
Mhm.
people who comment are either like super positive or, pretty negative. And
Super
so it's
negative.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. And like psychology says that even if you get like 100, 99 good comments and then one bad comment, those 99 good comments aren't
That
really
one.
going to impact you. You're not going to remember them as much, but that one is just it's going to nag you. And so you got to learn to be
Yep.
like, it's okay. There's going to be
Hmm.
people. And I almost take the compassionate approach of like, I wonder how they're feeling inside. They must be
Right.
feeling some heartbreak or some pain or something, because it's like, what else would compel them to want to say something so negative? And then I try
Hmm.
to turn the other cheek and be like, it's okay. I'm a huge
Yeah.
fan of like Jesus, honestly, where he, like, the way he lived of just like, love your neighbor, love your enemy, just
Hmm.
show love even if someone
Right.
is wanting to
It's
hurt,
hating.
because it's like they're probably just hurting internally.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I make a connection with that too. I'm like, if someone just wants to hate on you,
Not
there's
sure if we
nothing you
lost
can do about
connection.
it.
No, yeah.
Oh, did we? We're good.
Nope, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
I
Cool. Yeah, but just kind of building off what
maybe
you just said of like, people are gonna hate.
you're
You're not gonna stop it.
looks like it says, well, I think either way, I just can't see your recording, but I think it's still recording. But either way, sorry to cut you
Oh,
off, but
okay. No, you're
it's been
good.
like
I
smooth
got
all the way through. But
okay. I got I'm
if
recording
it's
on my
showing
end and
it's recording you, we're chilling.
okay. And
So
then
yeah,
it shows
it says
I
it's
see
recording
myself.
smoothly. I just
Okay. And then I also see you as
boom.
well and
So
you're
yeah,
smooth on my end. But yeah, so just like, building
sweet.
off what you just said is like love everybody, There's no need for hate. I just think people at the end of the day are hurting and there's nothing you can do. It's their life, You got to do yours. You got to do you.
Yeah, exactly. Because yeah, I always say this as well. It's like you're put on this earth for a reason.
Mhm.
Trying to fit the mold of everyone else, go down the path that everyone else is going down. It's like you're almost doing yourself a disservice. It's like you might as well follow your
Right.
soul and do what you are maybe meant to be doing on this earth. And
Mhm.
maybe you take the leap into something and you're like, huh, this really wasn't for me. And it's like, wow, that's way
Mhm.
better than never trying. It's like now and now you're going to be able to take a different leap. So it's like I just think
Right.
so many people just are on that edge and are scared to jump because they're afraid of failing or afraid of what people might think. And it's like, bro, don't let the fear of failure outweigh your fear of regret, because you're going to be
Mhm.
80 and you're going to look back and you're going to regret not
Right.
trying. And so that's just a mantra in my mind of like, don't let the fear of
Yep.
failure make you scared, because failure is like the best way to learn and grow.
Right. Don't let the fear overtake you. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of cut out on my end, so I didn't exactly hear what you said. I'm
Oh
sorry
yeah.
for this.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, just like kind of what you said of like when you're 80 years old and you're on your deathbed, you don't want to have that regret. There's always that story I love on that I've heard of like when you're on your deathbed and the person you could have been comes to you and is like, Bryce, why didn't you try to be a musician? Like, I don't want that. I don't think anybody wants that. And even if my career crashes and burns or it never takes off, at least I can say at the end of the day I tried, you know.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, it's like a hell on earth, honestly, if like you look in the mirror and you see what the person you could have been, and it's like, oof, you're the person you are, but you aren't the person you could have been. And it's like, it's just this feeling of, man, I should have tried harder, I should have done more, I should have
Right.
followed my gut. And honestly, I think both of
Tried
us,
harder.
if we keep acting in the way that we are, pursuing what we're pursuing, I think we're going to be able to, on our deathbed, be at least proud of what we've been doing, and excited for the legacy we may have left.
I would agree. Yeah.
I love this idea of just, it sounds so cliche, but following your passions and going after it. And I'm proud to meet someone like you who is doing it, because sometimes I run into people and I explain that, I'm pursuing this, and then they kind of look at me like I'm insane. And I'm like, yeah, I know I'm a little insane, but I got to do what I got to do. And I like being able to relate with someone like you who is doing the same thing. So,
and I always like to say,
got to talk. And
yeah, I was just going to say, like, I think that crazy is good. I think crazy means that you're not like everybody else. So being crazy, that's okay, because guess what? It's okay to be crazy. You're not like everybody else. You're doing something that is making you different, and that's what's great in this earth, and you want to be different than everybody else. And that you should be proud to be yourself, and not caring what other people think. And it's hard to do because you want to blend in with the crowd. I wanted to in high school, but I feel a lot better in my own skin as I do now than back in high school. And I think that's what I've tried to do in my life so far. Just be myself.
Yeah, and I bet you'd have less self-confidence if you never would have tried any of these things. You'd probably be, wishing you would have, and also just, you wouldn't have been who you are today. And I've gone through a ton of growth pursuing this, and I bet you have as well. Like, just forcing yourself to stay disciplined and not care what others think. And that's seriously. And I guess, do you have, like, let's say there's someone who's like 15, 16, 17 in high school, and they're maybe wanting to pursue music, maybe they're wanting to pursue a YouTube channel or whatever. What advice would you give to them? Like,
I think do what you want to do. First, getting your first material out, posting something that is up to your standards. And I know if you're a person like myself, you set these bars really high, but sometimes it's okay to lower the bars, and you have to start from somewhere. You're starting something from scratch, and it's not going to be the best thing right off the bat. You're going to have to start from somewhere. I know you started your podcast probably from scratch. I started my music career from scratch and making my own music from scratch. You're going to need to practice, stay disciplined, ask for constructive criticism, because it will build you into something that you're going to enjoy and that you're going to want to do. So to that person that's 15 years old, listening on their headphones, wanting to be a musician, like, maybe they don't know how to play any instruments at all. Well, YouTube and the internet is the best teacher right now of, like, you can teach yourself how to play an instrument, how to play guitar, how to play the drums. Like, the internet, man, it can help you in so many ways. It can hurt you and help you, but at the same time, if that 15-year-old little kid wants to learn how to play guitar, you can learn it right from your iPhone. Get a cheap $40 guitar from Amazon. It'll be there tomorrow, and you can start playing tomorrow. And you never know where it's going to take you. Just got to stay disciplined, confident, and know that you can do it.
I love it. Yeah, that's really good. I feel like people sometimes hear that and it still just doesn't stick. Like, they just, I'm not certain, like, why humans have this, like, fear of being different or fear of standing out or yeah, it's so interesting, but we all have to face it, and we gotta jump over that. And it seems like you're doing that,
and I think that
I'm
fear
doing that, and hopefully others will too. Yeah.
I think that fear, though, just stems from human beings just want to be in the pack, and you don't want to be the outcast. the social outcast or the, the weird, crazy person. Like what I said earlier is like, you're going to have to be crazy to make the jump. You're going to have to take the leap at the end of the day. And I promise you, if you take the leap and you're going to do what you want to do, you're going to feel so much better. You're not going to have that regret that you did when you were like 17 or 18 years old of like, I'm worried what people are going to think about me. Like, no, like you're going to feel so much better just doing what you want to do.
Truly. Yeah, it's poetry, honestly. And I guess, do you have any closing statements, for anyone listening, any other inspirational advice? Because honestly, you are inspirational. I like hanging out and seeing
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. You know, I just think to someone, being 15, 16 years old, wanting to make music, do it. There's nothing holding you back. Right now, I'm getting ready to launch my own brand called Be You. And what I've been inspired by is just being yourself, being you, just kind of what we talked about today of like, you were put on this earth for a reason. If it is to play guitar or to drive a truck, do it to the best of your capabilities. There's nothing stopping you. You have one life and you don't want to, have that regret when you're older if you didn't try. Um, then again, though, if you're 30 years old hearing this, it's never too late to try. Even if you're 80, it's never late to try. It's that when your time's up and if you still have that regret, then that's how you're gonna have to deal with. But I think some stuff I like to say though before is like check my website out, brycevrooman.com. I am on SoundCloud at Bryce Vrooman. All my Instagram, my YouTube, my Twitter, it's all Bryce Vrooman, so it's pretty easy. Um, but my album's dropping March 3rd. Everybody, like, if you're interested, always throw an alert. It'll be on my website. Follow me on Instagram. I'm always posting every day. Um, if it's about the Detroit Lions or my own music stuff, or, I'm always posting on Instagram. But yeah, thank you so much for having me today. I had a blast. This was awesome.
Yeah, man, it was great. And I will certainly throw the links in the description. And I'm honestly looking forward
Yeah,
to seeing how this tour goes, seeing how this album drops. And I'm
yeah,
very excited to also see those
yeah,
posters around. So that'll be sweet.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so, yeah, man,
All right.
we'll have to keep in touch. And I really appreciate you coming on.
Yes, always. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.